Every organization on the planet claims to run on trust and cooperation. Yet, if you walk into most of these buildings tomorrow, you'll find a workforce terrified of admitting they made a mistake. We take people who are exceptionally good at their jobs, accountants, engineers, salespeople, and we promote them. Suddenly, they are responsible for the people doing the job they used to do. But since we provide no training on how to actually lead, we assume the skill will simply appear with the new title. This leadership vacuum is a side effect of business theories constructed during the boom years of the 1980s and 90s. We are still running modern companies on models designed for a different era. Take the concept of shareholder supremacy. When a public company prioritizes maximizing shareholder value above all else, they are essentially a head coach who cares more about the fans in the stands than the players on the field. When a company misses an arbitrary projection, the immediate reflex is to balance the spreadsheet by cutting human beings. The moment a layoff is announced, trust evaporates. Every remaining employee realizes that their hard work guarantees zero security if the numbers on the spreadsheet slip. When failure carries the threat of termination, people stop asking for help. They start hiding errors and faking progress to protect their paychecks. An organization cannot innovate when its own people are too afraid to admit that a problem even exists. On the Las Vegas Strip, two competing mega resorts operate right next to each other, yet they produce entirely different human outcomes. A barista named Noah works at Caesar's Palace for part of the week. He says that when he's there, he keeps his head down. Because managers are only looking for mistakes, Noah does the bare minimum necessary to collect his paycheck and survive the day. But Noah also works at the Four Seasons. There, managers spend their day walking the floor, asking him if he has what he needs to do his job better. Noah is the same person, but in this building, he is vibrant, engaged, and loves his work. Empathy in leadership is the act of inquiring about a person's well-being when their performance drops. Instead of a threat, it's a question. Your numbers are down. Are you okay? Is there something going on? We often blame performance issues on hiring or generational differences, ignoring the fact that everyone has external struggles, a sick child, a failing marriage, or a dying parent, that inevitably affect their work. It is rarely a people problem. It is almost always a leadership problem. Empathy creates the psychological safety required for an employee to operate at their natural best. In game theory, there are two distinct types of contests. A finite game, like baseball, has known players and fixed roles. There is a mutually agreed upon objective, and once someone has more runs after 9 innings, the game is over. An infinite game is defined by changeable rules and unknown players. There is no finish line and no winner. The only objective is to keep the game in play for as long as possible. When a finite player fights for a victory against an infinite player, they get stuck in a quagmire. In Vietnam and Afghanistan, superpowers playing to win were frustrated by local forces who were simply fighting for their lives. Business is an infinite game, yet most companies use finite language. They talk about beating the competition or being number one as if there is a final whistle. Declaring yourself the winner is a strategic delusion. No one else in the market has agreed to your arbitrary metrics, rules, or timeframes. The rivalry between Microsoft and Apple highlights the difference between these two mindsets. During the Steve Ballmer era, Microsoft was a textbook finite player. At their leadership summits, Microsoft executives spent the majority of their time agonizing over how to beat Apple. They were obsessed with the competition. At Apple summits, the executives spent their time discussing how to help teachers teach and how to help students learn. They were obsessed with purpose. When Microsoft released the Zune, a device technically superior to the iPod Touch, Apple leadership didn't panic. When told the competition had a better product, one executive simply said, "I have no doubt." Infinite players don't worry about being better than a rival on any given day. They compete exclusively against themselves, trying to improve their service and their products compared to where they were yesterday. By focusing on an infinite cause rather than a daily scorecard, these organizations eventually frustrate their competition into dropping out of the game entirely. The internal resonance of a team is the engine of the infinite game. A culture built on human connection provides the stability needed to survive external market pressures. In an infinite contest, players only leave when they run out of will or resources. You simply stop having the means to play. Micromanagement, fear, and layoffs drain an organization's will. When trust dissolves, the entire vertical structure collapses. A leader's actual work is the protection and development of the human beings tasked with generating the results. This requires immense personal sacrifice. When things go right, a great leader gives away all the credit. When things go wrong, they step forward to absorb all the responsibility. You cannot win the game of business, but you can outlast those who are playing it wrong. By leading with empathy, you build a team with the collective will to stay in the game long after the competition has given up.